Okay, I'm going to say good evening or good morning, good afternoon or very early morning, depending on where you're joining us from today. Just to give everyone time to kind of jump in, the attendee list is increasing and the people joining us on our different social media channels. We are streaming live on Facebook. We are streaming live on our YouTube channel. We are on LinkedIn for the counsellor colleagues we work with, as well as the people who are joining us today via the Zoom link. We do have people joining us from North America, from Europe, from the UK, as well as Asia. I've noticed there's some people joining us from South Korea, which is fantastic to see that we've got such a diverse range of students who are interested in the fantastic facilities available at Masaryk University in Brno. So the way this webinar is going to work is we're going to do some introductions first as more people join us. And we're honoured to have some fantastic guests with us this evening, wherever you are. And then we're going to go into a short video showing you the fantastic resources available at the university. And I can testify, having seen these resources many times, there are not many medical schools globally that have the kinds of facilities that you're going to find at Masaryk University in Brno, in the south of the Czech Republic, in Moravia. And then we're going to have Susanna. Say hello, Susanna. Going to have a little presentation from Susanna to give you some more information. We'll talk about the exam dates. And then I'm also going to ask Helena and Imam, who I'll introduce correctly in a moment, to address some questions. For those of you that have got questions who are on the Zoom link, you will see at the bottom of your screen, there's a little thing saying Q&A. All right, you can go to there and you can type in your question. You can be anonymous if you're on the anonymous group, or if you want to have your name behind it, don't worry. We will not disclose your identity when we read out the question. But the important thing is, every single question will get read out because we are the only people that see your questions. And for those people watching the recording on YouTube or Facebook, etc., they will not get the chance to see that question. So we will read every question out, but your identity will not be linked to that particular question. So please do not worry about asking any question that you want. I guarantee if you have the question in your mind, plenty of other people will have that question as well. Okay, so please do use the Q&A feature anytime in the presentation, or if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, you can even ask your questions there as well. We're monitoring everything on different screens in the office this afternoon. So without any further ado, I'm going to go through the introductions as more people are joining us. It's good to see. I'm going to introduce the head of the international office at Masaryk University, Helena Melicherova, who I've known for many years. And we've had many great experiences with student enrollments and graduations, etc. And it's fantastic to see so many graduates from Masaryk University working back in the UK and much further afield. Helena mans the entire office. She's the kind of the queen of the office. It all is getting held together by her. But then the real work, let's be honest, is done by Susanna and her colleagues. And we've got Susanna joining us as well, who kind of deals with a lot of the applications, exams. And it's been a pleasure to have Susanna come to various exams that we have ran for Masaryk University. And then the real VIP, we've got Iman. Iman is one of the medical doorway students who's a final year student in dentistry. So about to graduate, about to start embarking on her career. Hopefully she'll be coming back to the UK because we need a lot more dentists in the UK. And we've got some massive dental employers in the UK, like Roderick's or My Dentist, who hoover up those graduates from Masaryk University. Now, Imam is, as I said, finally a dentist and has been instrumental in developing and the dental aspect or the dental arm of MIMSA, which is the Masaryk International Medical Student Association, which is a student-led association unique to Masaryk University, which does amazing things both pastorally, socially, and academically for the students. So this is a very peer-run organization at Masaryk University, giving you as students opportunities outside of the classroom, as well as supporting you to get through your 5 years of dentistry or 6 years of medicine at Masaryk University. So if it's okay with Helena and Susanna, I'm going to show everyone a short video of Masaryk University first. Don't worry if it lags for you, okay? If your internet connection isn't that fast, if it lags, don't worry. We will send a link tomorrow to this video, which is on YouTube, in the follow-up email that you get from this particular webinar, okay? So as more people are joining us, I'm going to literally switch my screen over to the video and let's watch or see the fantastic facilities on offer, and then we'll get straight into the presentation.
Hi, I'm Dylan, and this is the Faculty of Medicine. I'm going to show you. I'm going to
You are on mute.
I was on mute then. I mute myself. Sorry about that, everyone. As I said, this is live. So as I said, I hope you got the chance to see that video. It did lag for me a little bit at the end, but you will get the link tomorrow. And that's not the only video of the Masaryk University facilities that you will be able to find on the Masaryk University YouTube channel or on the Medical Doorway website as well. So next, really, on the agenda is to hand over to Susanna, who's going to talk about the nuts and bolts of Masaryk University, some of the data, and then how we then apply and select you for the fantastic programs on offer at the faculty. So Susanna, I'm going to mute myself and unmute myself a bit later, but let's hand over to you. Just like I said, everyone, if you want to ask a question at any point, if it comes in your mind, type it in. Don't worry, we will address all your questions at the end. We've got plenty of time this evening to do that.
Okay, thank you. So welcome everybody. My name is Susanna and I'm really glad that we can present you our university today. Before I share my presentation with you with more information and details, I just want to follow up on the video that actually all the people you've seen on the videos, they were no actors, those were our students. And one of our general medicine students, actually Dylan, who was the main, let's say, character of the video, he graduated already and he is currently doing his specialization in the UK, I think on the Department of Orthopedics. Yeah, so there were no actors. Yeah, so there were our students as well. The dentistry student is one of our Italian students, and I think soon she will also graduate she's in the higher year already. So let's get to the presentation. Yeah, okay. So I would like to say maybe on the beginning that our university, we can proudly say that is one of the, let's say, best, most modern and developed medical schools in the Central Europe, definitely. And we will show you why it is so. You already seen the video, so I think it was a good start, but let us now explain you why we are, I think, the best what the medical schools can offer in the Central Europe. We are located in Brno, which is the second largest city in Czech Republic. I have to say it's a very nice, student-friendly city. There are many universities there, so the concentration of students is really high. So probably every sixth person you will meet in the city will be a student. Yeah. It's also a safe country, so you don't have to worry that you will move across, let's say, from all around the world and be here in a new city. You don't have to worry. It's a very safe. Czech Republic indeed is a safe country, and Brno especially a safe city. It has a good location. Yeah, so we have an airport in Brno, so students from UK are actually the lucky ones that they can use the Ryanair flights, yes, from London Stansted directly to Brno. But we are also very close to Vienna, so many students also use the airport in Vienna. We are like 1.5 hours from there, and you have direct buses and trains. Or if you wish, you can always fly to Prague or Bratislava. So we have a really like a central location, and we are well connected with other major cities within Europe. We also have a very, I would say, good public transportation system in Brno. Brno is not so huge. I think it has the perfect size, yes, of a let's say I wouldn't say a smaller city, but it has everything what the student needs is there. And it's also very popular for foreign students, for international students, not only for studying the whole degree program, but for example, short-term mobility such as Erasmus. There are many students who choose Masaryk University and spend their semester or their whole studies with us. As I said, Brno is a student-friendly city because the concentration of students is so high. So when we compare it, for example, with Prague, which is the capital, it can be a bit overwhelming with all the tourists there. In Brno, of course, there are tourists, but not so many. There are more students. So it really has a student vibe. When you go there, you have a lot to do. You as a medical student, of course, you need to focus on your studies first, yes, but you need some time also to relax, to refresh your mind from all the studying, and Brno has everything to offer and to help you to relax either in the city centers, many cafes, restaurants, or the area or the surroundings of Brno, which has a beautiful nature. So if you are into, let's say, hiking, it's a great place to go. Regarding the costs of living, of course, it depends on your lifestyle, yes. So, but we would say roughly around between 500 to 700 pounds per month, already included the accommodation. Now, you have two choices of the accommodation. Of course, if you will stay at the dormitories, it will be the cheaper option, or you can find a private accommodation in Brno, which will be a bit, let's say, will have higher pricing. But the public transportation is really cheap, and especially you as students, you will pay just around 20 pounds for 3 months, and you can travel 24/7 within Brno. Yeah, so I think the price is really reasonable. Masaryk University, as one of the universities in Brno, is already more than 100 years old. Yeah, so it has a long tradition. And it has more than 35,000 students. So it's really a large institution. And Faculty of Medicine is not the only faculty. We have other 9, so altogether 10 different faculties. I would also mention that as we always try to be the most modern and the most developed university, and also the medical school, we are really, Masaryk University is trying and is supporting the research, which is an important part of the universities itself. And we have, I would mention maybe just 3, let's say, centers or institutes, which are very, let's say, popular also among the research community. And a specific to Brno is that we are sometimes called like the Czech Republic's Silicon Valley, because there are many institutes focusing on research, but we have many, let's say, companies and services for IT and so on. So Brno really is a Silicon Valley. So regarding the research, I would definitely mention CETEC, which is the Central European Institute of Technology, as it's an integral part of the university. So there are many researchers, many PhD students from all around the world who are working on their PhD thesis there, for example, on nanotechnologies and so on. Then the recently new, say, research is the Creatic, which is also something new. It's part of the university, and it's a Central European Advanced Therapy and Immunotherapy Center. I have read it, so I don't mix the name. And this focuses mostly on rare diseases. Yeah. And as we do not just want to develop the research, we also want to develop the facilities for the teaching. And this is a new project which is still ongoing. It's the Biopharma Hub, because we also have Faculty of Pharmacy. So we are building also new facilities for them, which will be also used by Faculty of Medicine and Faculty of Science, because there will be also a preclinical center where we will use. So let's have a closer look at our Faculty of Medicine in numbers. As I mentioned, we have more than 35,000 students in the university, and there are 4,500 students at the Faculty of Medicine in different medical fields or different programs, yes. And out of which it's like 800 of international students. We have many research group, departments, and clinic, and so on. So you can imagine it's a large institution. We are located in, let's say, in Bohunica. It's a part of Brno, and we have a nice campus. You can see the main entrance, which you've seen in the video. Yes, so the red building is the main entrance, and right next to us is one of our teaching hospitals. So we are connecting directly to them, and the students really are learning using these facilities, modern lecture halls. We have a large library in the middle of the campus. And we are also connected to, I would say, a shopping center. It's a smaller one, but I think it's really important, because when you will have breaks, you need to get some food. Then you can always, there is also a Tesco grocery store. So for the UK students, it will be a well-known brand. Yes, so everything is close there. There are banks, there are pharmacies, so everything in one place. I think that's a big advantage of our medical school, is that when you will be in the first 2-3 years, you will be spending your time at one place in the campus, having the classes there. You don't have to travel to different departments, to different city locations, as some of the medical schools have it like that. So you don't have to commute. You will be in the campus, and when you need to do some shopping or grab a lunch, you can always go to the, let's say, mall. One of our, let's say, proudest part of campus is definitely SIMU, which is a simulation center, but we prefer to call it simulation hospital, because it really is a simulation hospital, and you have seen it in the video. Yes, it really offers everything what a real hospital has, and it has 5 floors. So there is a let's say, a ground floor where is the emergency unit. You've seen it. We have our own ambulance car. We have operating theaters, ICU units. There is a whole floor dedicated just to the dentistry students. The second. So already, I would say, first-year students will be spending time there, having their anatomy classes, for example, or first aid classes. So it's something unique, something like we have a whole building. We don't have just a room with simulators. We have a whole building. I already mentioned one teaching hospital, which is directly connected to our campus, but we have other 4 that are in the city, which of course will be important for you when you be doing your clinical rotations. So let's come to our offer. So we offer 2 programs in English, and one of them is general medicine and one of them is dentistry. General medicine takes 6 years and dentistry 5 years. Yeah. You can see here the tuition fee. It's per academic year, and maybe important thing is to mention that it's possible to pay in 2 installments, so separately per each semester. So once you are admitted, you don't have to pay for the whole academic year. You can pay for a semester. Yeah. Our degree is recognized globally. So once you graduate from a university, you can then continue anywhere in the world to do your specialization. I would just briefly describe you each program so you have a better imagination how it looks like. So for general medicine, as I said, it takes 6 years, and it's always split into 2 parts, a preclinical and clinical part. As I mentioned, the first 3 years you will be spending at the campus having classes like you maybe remember from the high school, that you have a biology, you have anatomy, and so on. You will be spending in the campus, but also in the simulation center, as I mentioned, together. And in the clinical years, you will do so-called clinical rotations in different hospitals in Brno or in hospitals abroad, which we always support international students to use mobility programs and do their, say, pre-graduation practices, for example, at home during the 6th year, because of course you want to get to know your home country, let's say, health system, and also with the language barrier when we look at the language barrier. But don't worry if you will do the clinical rotations in Brno, because you will learn Czech language. It's part of the curriculum, both for general medicine and dentistry program. So first 4 years, you will learn also Czech language. But do not worry, you start from the basics, and maybe later on through this webinar, Eman will tell her experience about the Czech language. Yes, so you will start step by step. You don't have to be fluent after the 4 years. Some of the students are completely fluent and they decide to stay in Czech Republic, but it's important that at least you can ask what the patient is suffering from and how you can help. Dentistry student or dentistry program is also very similar, split into 2 parts, the preclinical and clinical part. Yes, the dentistry students are in the simulation center from the beginning, because there is the whole floor dedicated just to them. But they also have classes then in St. Anne's Dental Clinic. Yes, and again, they have these internships in the last final year. Regarding the future possibilities, as I said, the degrees are recognized. So as we say, the doors are open for you to go anywhere. So if you can return back to UK, as I said, we have already many graduates there. One of them was in the video, one of the future one we have here with the webinar with us. Yes, if you plan to go to US, or we have someone from US, you can also do the USMLE exam through your studies. So we really support this. So you can do step 1 and step 2, and we even offer a scholarship for those students. So if you successfully pass these steps, we will cover the costs of the exam. Regarding pre-graduation practices, we have some connection with UK hospitals, and we hope to have more connection in the future. So the students can then do their graduation practices, for example, in the Liverpool hospital. And you can use many other mobility programs such as Erasmus, Free Mover, and IFMSA. So we have many, many options. So if you want to do some, let's say, practices and traineeships abroad, you have many options to do so. Now to come to the more practical part is how to be admitted. So you need to finish your high school successfully. That's the important part for us. So for UK students, of course, you need to have your A-levels. You need 3 A-levels in order to be able to study at a university. Of course, and then you need to contact our partner agency, in this case, Medical Doorway, and they will help you with the whole admission process. Yes, so they're already well experienced with this, and we have trust in them, so they will help you and advise you how to do it. So you will submit an application. Of course, those of you who are in your last year, let's say with the A-levels, you don't have your final diploma when you submit the application. So for us, it's sufficient if you upload, for example, predicted grades or some transcript of records from your 12th or year before, so we know that you are in your last year of study. So these are all: finish your high school and submit the application. Yeah. Also, because you need to write our entrance examination tests and how to prepare for them. We have sample tests on our website, so you can have a look at the format and of the level of the exam. Yeah, if you find it difficult, let's say you find difficult the physics, you can, for example, purchase our e-learning preparative courses. They are now open, so now is the right time to purchase them and to learn from them. They are great because you can study from them from comfort of your home. There are materials for self-study, so definitely look at the sample test, and I'm sure also Ben from Medical Doorway can advise you on the exams and exams format. You will need to write 3 tests, and it's chemistry, biology, and physics. So D3 tests. These are each test has 40 multiple choice questions. Yes, there is always just one answer is correct, and there are no negative points. Sometimes students, let's say, are scared from physics. Yes, so don't be, because we take the overall mark, let's say. So if you lack some knowledge of physics, of course, purchase the e-learning course and prepare the best you can for physics for the tests. But you can always balance it out with biology and chemistry. So if you need to have a strong chemistry and biology knowledge, and it will balance a bit of, let's say, lack of physics, but definitely physics is important, because the first semester you will have a biophysics class, and that's why we test also this knowledge. The acceptance pass mark, so for general medicine is 60%, and for dentistry is 65%. Yes, because for dentistry it's a bigger, let's say, competition, because we admit only like 20 to 25 students each year. So that's why you need to show us that you are the best. We already have the examination dates set with Dan. So in London, it's the 12th of April or 28th of June. So someone from our office will go to London, and we will bring the tests with us. We also have an exam date for US and Canada region, and if I'm not wrong, it's the 16th of June.
Yeah, we have an online exam. I'll go into a presentation about this in a moment, Susanna. But for those who are on the line, because I have noticed some of the names are from North America, because we've got applicants, we do have a North American focused online entrance exam on the 16th of June. So, but I will obviously give some people, I'll show everyone how to make the application in less than 10 minutes in a moment.
Yeah, thank you for confirming that, because I didn't include it into the presentation. You will actually know really fast whether you are admitted or not, because we always give out the results within 5 days. Yes. So when the exam is on the weekend, on Monday, Tuesday, you already know whether you are admitted or not. We always try to be as fast as possible, because also we know how you are eager to know the results. Those who will be admitted, I will prepare the admission papers for you, the admission documents. I will send them to Medical Doorway, and they will distribute it to you. The important document there, of course, will be also the invoice. So just don't forget that to secure the seat at our university, you will need to pay for the first semester to secure your seat. Even though you will have a deadline specified on the invoice, as I mentioned, you can pay separately for each semester. Other important documents, actually for everyone now, even for the UK students, you will need to apply for the visa. Yes, so you will have some documents you need from us. So it will be included in the admission papers, and Ben will be able to advise on this. So really use his service, because he has some experience, and I think the last years he is always in contact with the Czech embassy in London. So I'm sure he will be able to advise you on this. This admitted students, as I said, you have the option to stay at our dormitories. Once you are admitted, you will be booking the rooms during the summer. We will also need from you your secondary school documentation, but again, this will be, let's say, also responsibility of Ben from Medical Doorway to help you with the secondary school to get the documents what we require for the verification. If you don't want to stay at the dormitories, you can also find some private accommodation in the city, or there is a private dormitory. We call it Domek. There are many students using it as well, but it's a bit more expensive option. I would say that mostly the students stay first 2 semesters at the dormitories. Once they get to know the city, they get to know their classmates, then they move to some private accommodation. I would also like to mention during this webinar that we offer a foundation program. So this program is specifically for those students who lack the knowledge in the science subjects. So let's say you did not focus on science on your high school. Yes, so then probably the entrance examination would be too hard for you now. You can take part in the foundation program, and we will prepare you for the entrance exam. So the program runs directly at the campus. It's always from October till March, and then you will have the entrance examination. So really you can use this option. You will already adapt to the university environment. You will get to know the teachers that teach the degree students. So I think it has many, many advantages. And if you perform well during this foundation program, you can even be exempted from the entrance examination, which is also a big advantage. For UK students, I would just like to mention that this program does not replace the A-levels. Yes, so sometimes we receive this question. So our foundation program does not replace the A-levels. You need to have the A-levels. Then, for those of you, maybe we have some younger people in the audience who are interested in the medical field, but they are not really sure now, and they still have, let's say, 2-3 more years till they will apply. We also organize each summer a medical summer school. And I think if you are still uncertain what will be your education path, you should definitely come to Brno, spend there 1 week with us in August. It's in the summertime, so it's always a nice weather, maybe really warm, I would say. And you will be actually a medical student for a week. Yes. So we have 2 terms. So one will be in July and one in August. So we have an age limitation. So you should be 16 and older. Yeah. And to apply, but to just describe what you will do, you will actually spend time at the anatomy department. You will be at the physiology department doing different laboratory work. You will be in the simulation center. So this is a great opportunity for you to experience our simulation hospital. You will have there the first aid class taught by our vice dean for international relations. So definitely is something to enjoy. And you will also visit a museum of Gregor Johann Mendel, who is the father of genetics, and you will do some DNA sampling. So it's really, really nice. And it's always finished or concluded by a trip. So you can see the picture is actually our students from the summer school when they made a trip to, actually it was to Prague, to visit Prague. It's just 2 hours from Brno. So if you are still have time, and then definitely apply for our summer school. MIMSA we have already mentioned. It's our student association, and it has also a dental, let's say, section, which was led by Emma, so I'm sure she will then tell you more about it. So MIMSA has an education team. So if you will need some tutoring, they offer tutoring. They do, for example, blood taking seminars, anatomy sessions. So they are there to help you. So there are our students in the higher years, the successful students who will help you not to feel alone. They will help us also with the orientation week. And they also organize different sports events and charity. I shouldn't forget about that. I am part of the admission office, and as it was mentioned, Helena is the head of the office, and there are other 4 ladies there. So all 6 of us are there for you to help you through the whole studies. And it's an English-speaking team, so all of us speak English, and we are dedicated just to the international students. So we are always there to help you and advise you. Once you are, let's say, admitted and you already secured the accommodation during the summer and so on, before you start the classes, because the tuition will start on 15th September. So mid-September, you start with the classes. But 1 week before that, we have enrollments. And during these enrollments, also, MIMSA will help us with the orientation week because they will plan different social events for you to get to know your peers, to get to know your, let's say, senior students, and exchange useful, you'd say, tips and tricks how to survive the studies. Yes. So I think it's a great fun for the students in the first week. So definitely when you will have the option to be here the whole week, I think it will be the best. But definitely you need to come for your enrollment. And the enrollments are concluded by a barbecue, which we have every year. It's always on Friday. And your parents and siblings and everyone from your family is invited to join. So we always near the campus. We are outside, so we are doing. We have there many different foods and drinks, so it's always a good time to spend. And what's new is that since last year, we also organized a simulation center tour for the parents. So I think it's a great opportunity to come. And from UK, I think it's not so far to come to Brno. So if you will have time to do a prolonged weekend in September, definitely use this option. So I already came to an end. So if you have any questions, of course, if not, you can always contact us and write an email, or or reach out to Medical Doorway because they will be able to answer all of your questions. And if there is some specific question, they always then reach out to us. Definitely follow us on Instagram. We have great videos from the classes, from the simulation center. So if you haven't done so, definitely check our Instagram. Also, MIMSA has an Instagram. The Dent Talk socials also have Instagram. So check the socials because there are a lot of information there. So with this, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I will give the word to Ben.
Perfect. Thank you, Susanna. If you can, what we'll do is if we'll just, perfect. Right. So before we dig into the questions, and the questions have been flooding in, and there is still time to kind of pop your questions down. If you want to ask a question, now is the time to type it down. Okay. So we will go through each question one by one. And thank you for those joining us on YouTube. We've actually got a good audience on YouTube tonight. So it's really keen to see that people are engaging with us in so many different formats. So before we get started into the questions and then really kind of leverage Aman's experience over the last 5 years of her studies, I'm just going to show you how to make the application for Masaryk University. Now, like I said, we do have 3 exams scheduled. We do have the exam for, let me just share my screen with you a second. Okay. So we do have the exam for you in London, and we have 2 exams in London. And for those people asking questions, we will kind of point you in the right direction in a moment. Okay. So you should now see our screen. Okay, so good. So for more information about Masaryk University, you can find the university very easily on its own dedicated page. Okay, we've got all the information on the university there about the foundation program, medicine, dentistry. We've even got some images, and then we've got some different videos in addition to the ones that you've already seen. We do have the 3 entrance exam dates, and I'm going to talk you through those exam dates because what's important is that we get you on the right exam that gives you enough time to prepare, but more importantly, gives you the time that's necessary to get the visa based on your own individual circumstances. And when I say individual circumstances, I do mean individual. So the Masaryk University dates that we have the 12th of April in London. All right. Now that is for anyone. Doesn't matter what your nationality is, doesn't matter where you're living. If you want to be in, take that exam in London, 12th of April, it is in person. All right. So we have students who perhaps have Indian passports, Nigerian passports, who are living in the UK. If that's the case, and you will need a visa to even just travel to the Czech Republic, let alone study, you need to take that particular exam because it can take up to 90 days after we've had the visa appointment to get the actual visa. The normal is 60, but it can take longer. All right. The next one we've got is an online exam, which is very focused on those students in North America. For those of you that are based in Canada, Medical Doorway will be in Toronto and Montreal at the end of April, doing some work with various schools there. If you want to get in touch with us and perhaps have a chat with us face to face, that might be possible. And I do notice that there are people joining us today from across the pond, as we say. So that exam is online for students focused on the Americas. And then at the end of June, after A-level exams are finished, we have another in-person exam in London. And what's important here is this exam is only for those people who can travel to Europe without a visa. Now, you will still need to apply for the student visa if you're British, but you can at least travel for 90 days visa-free. So if there is a delay of a few weeks on getting the visa in your passport, not a problem. We don't have much wait time at the embassy in London. We've got a very good relationship with the team there. So, and in some cases, we can even apply for your visa without physical presence now. So you will need to take that particular exam, but that's only for those students who do not need a visa to travel. So that is Brits, European Union passport holders, European Economic Area, or those who have a Schengen residency permit can take that exam because you can at least enter the Czech Republic visa-free. Please don't ask me if you need a visa to travel to Europe, please do not ask me to take the exam in June. We're going to have to say no because we can't let that seat go free. Okay. It's very simple to make the application. You can click on the big blue button here, check medical application form, and then sit your exams in the UK. That will then take you to the application form, which you can fill in, and then we'll assess your application to ensure you're eligible and then get you started on preparation. We do help with preparation. We do have a system of some basic lectures that we've prepared, But if you want specialist presentations specifically for Masaryk University, the university have developed their own preparation programs, which Susanna mentioned, which you can purchase for a very competitive price compared to what's out on the open market, which are tailored specifically to the Masaryk University entrance exams. Okay. The other thing I want to say is people do freak out about physics. All right. Do not panic about the physics. Honestly, do not panic about the physics on the entrance exam. The physics is very much more like applied mathematics, the types of physics you're going to need for medicine. So if you have taken maths at the IB, even at the standard level, or maths A level, you're going to find that you've got the fundamentals for the physics paper. And remember, the mark is amalgamated. All three papers go together. So even if you're a bit worried about the physics, that's 1/3 of the exam. Remember, you're probably exceptionally already prepared for the larger 2/3 of the exam. And just to prove it, Imam got through there. She's there now in her final year of dentistry. So without any further ado, I am going to start going through the questions. I'll read each question out, and then I'm going to delegate it to one or more members of the team that we have with us. Okay? So I'm going to deal with this question. This question is being asked, and I've got a very interesting response to this. Okay. Someone's asked the question. Okay. There have been some critical reports about students having to repeat academic years. Okay. And what is that? How does that impact on the graduation rate? I'm going to say this quite openly. Do be very critical of anything you read online where someone has not put their name to it. All right. If someone's not going to openly publish their name and information, just like researchers do, be critical of what you read, especially if there is no evidence to support what they're saying. And I'm seeing Imam nodding there. Okay. Imam, if you can take yourself off mute, because you've progressed through the program. So if the Masaryk University has a fantastic reputation, and I'm going to give you, for those people on here from North America, it's got such a fantastic reputation that it qualifies for US federal funding. That's number one. And it also has an exceptionally high USMLE passing rate. So obviously the standards are very high. Imam, you've progressed through the course. Yes. You've worked hard. You're going to be jumping into a job with one of the big dental conglomerates in the UK. Yeah. Clearly, that requires a knowledge and skills, and more importantly, an adult aptitude in your studies. Yeah. A bit more about that. And also tell us about perhaps why some students have not been successful and why you and Dylan and the countless other graduates that we've got have been successful.
Okay, so firstly, I feel like the first 2 years, you have to have a perfect balance of studying and also like maintaining your other lifestyle activities, like with friends, everything. You need to put those things on hold, and you need to prioritize your studies a lot, because the first 2 years are mainly a foundation for the upcoming years. And you basically build your foundation. So you're learning the basics like anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, histology. And these are the basics of medicine and dentistry. So you really need to put your head down and focus on those subjects. You need to stay consistent from day one with your studying. And it is not impossible. I have done it. I have heard upper year students, a lot of stories and stuff, but I just worked hard. I put my head down, I focused, and I passed everything on the first attempt. So yeah, I feel like it's very doable, and you should always take advice from people who are passing and who are successful. You should not look at those who are failing. Even if they are, you should take it in a positive light, and then you should always like know what not to do and not to follow their footsteps. So usually you would hear people failing if they are studying like a week before or 2 weeks before, or, so yeah.
My advice, and we talk to students about this, is you are the master of your own destiny with medical studies. There is a lot of content. It's a lot of applied content, and you can't learn anatomy in a week. Yeah. And the biggest reason students fail the exam is physically not turning up for the exam. Let's be honest. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. You are given 3 attempts for your exams, aren't you? 3 attempts in the given academic year to pass your exam. So there are multiple opportunities. And I'll always say the staff at Masaryk University, especially the vice dean, the cardiologist, the vice dean, he's a fantastic, fantastic surgeon. They will give their time if you ask for it. but they're going to want to see that you are attending lessons, preparing adequately, and taking responsibility for your own learning.
Yes.
Because medical and dental studies are just the start. You don't stop learning once you graduate from medical school. Medicine is an evolving subject. You know, my background is in physiotherapy many years ago. It is different now than when I studied in the 90s. And dentistry will be very different in 10 years' time, Aman, than it is for you now. And you will be constantly learning. If you're a student who are believing that you're going to university and you're simply going to get a qualification by paying tuition fees, that's not how it works in these high-ranked institutions. And the reason for that is quite simple. Reputation matters. The skills, the knowledge, the duty of care the university has to ensure patients are protected.
Yeah.
So as I would say to everyone who's asking this question or thinking about this or reading what I would call unevidenced statements online, get in contact with MIMSA, because MIMSA is populated by those students at the top. I think we've got one of our students, Rasheen. I think she's a senior student. She may have graduated now, actually, from the Republic of Ireland. I think she was ahead of you, was she, Iman?
Yeah, she was in medicine, yeah.
And she's graduated now.
Yeah.
They are the people to follow. They are the people to ask advice to. If you're going to go to medical school, turn up, attend, ask questions. And the most important thing is if you do fail something, learn from your mistakes, because you will then be better from that. And I think that would be the educational approach, not just at Masaryk, but at any medical school. Fantastic. Okay. Right. Emma, there's a question. I'm going to go down a couple because I think this question is kind of going into where we've just come from, really, about how the examination periods work. Now, I do know for those who are online, it's a little bit different than in the UK, where in the UK, our universities dictate your exam dates. Can you just tell us, Emma, a little bit about how the exam strategy works at Masaryk University and how perhaps that might be different than the UK, and what you think are the pros and cons of that?
Okay, so every semester, so 1 year comprises of the autumn semester and then you have the spring semester. So you will have exams in each semester. So if you have your first semester in the autumn semester, your exam period will start around January. And so the exam dates are published by for example, you will have biophysics. So biophysics, the exam dates will be published by the professor, for example, in December, or even earlier in November. And you get to choose your layout of exams. You get to choose when you want to do what thing first. If you have another subject, for example, in dentistry, we have medical chemistry alongside. So you get to plan out your examination period. You get to choose your dates. And then on a certain specific date, the exams are opening for booking. So you're on the laptop, and usually at 5 p.m., all the exam dates are open. So you book it and you get the date you want to, hopefully. I've always been successful. So yeah, so you book it, and then like your exam dates are up to you. You choose what you want to do, and it totally depends on you. And there's, of course, more dates. If you do not get the date you wanted, you can always get a date a week later, a month later, probably, if you want the last date. So there's multiple dates, like probably 6, 7, 8 dates for you to choose from. So that applies in the spring semester too. So the spring semester examination period it starts in June and it goes till August. And then you have an extended examination period, which is in August, September. And this is usually if you do fail an exam, you're able to resit the exam in that period. Yeah.
And the failing the exams, I want to let everyone know this because it's a bit different than perhaps in the UK.
Yeah.
If you say fail the exam the first time, but then you completely ace it the second time, you get a higher mark.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you're often capped at the lower mark. If you failed your first attempt, you can't get any higher than the lowest pass mark.
No, I've seen some people fail and then they get an A, Yes. So, yeah.
Yeah, so some people who get the red diploma, which is kind of like what we call the distinction or the first class in the UK, some of those have failed exams. In fact, the fact that they failed the exam the first time means they got a higher score the second time than if they just scraped the pass. So their performance was actually better in the long run. But you need to get used to how you respond to failure. And I think this is perhaps a weakness in high school education globally. We don't teach kids how to respond to failure anymore. So be prepared to fail something occasionally, but build on that, learn from that, and then become stronger because of it. If you're going to give up after the first hurdle, you're not going to get far in life and your career generally. Okay?
Yeah, failure is just part of the process. It's just it's a learning curve as well. Like for example, I failed Czech, and that was like, I studied just 2 days for it. I was like, let's go and see. But then I put a week more effort and I passed. So yeah.
We'll talk about the Czech language in a moment. Okay, I'm going to give your voice a bit of a rest now, Iman. I'm going to bring Helena into the conversation because, again, we do have people joining us from North America. Someone's asking about US students, because this is a US student getting clinical rotations in the US and how the university engages with prep for USMLE. And I think, Helena, you do have a particular kind of benefit for students that do pass the USMLE and take it at Masaryk University. So if you could just tell us a little bit about your engagement for US students taking USMLE and progression to matching.
Okay. Regarding the USMLE, we already started preparation for these tests from the first year. In the first year, it's a part of the anatomy. Anatomy knowledge. From the third year, the students are taught USMLE questions within, if I'm not mistaken, within the pathophysiology, then in the clinical years, etc. We also have USMLE seminars that our teachers who are experienced and successfully passed USMLE tests, they are helping the students who are going to prepare for these tests. And as Zuzana already mentioned, we have of course, we support students with the library with the specific books for this. And as a feedback, we have scholarship for students who pass the USMLE test successfully. We pay them back all expenses. So this is the part. As you mentioned, we are recognized by the American federal law. So who graduated from the Masaryk University, passed USMLE test, can also ask for the residency in the United States. We are now solving the VSLO, which is the platform for the registering for the residential program, for the internships in a hospital, and also we support students to pass during the summer practices or during the last 6 years of studies. There are like several weeks of the internships from the surgery, from the internal medicine, pediatrics, gynecology. Those internships actually are completed by the state exams. If I think there was one question about it, so there are state exams, final exam from 3, internal medicine, pediatrics, gynecology. Yes, the dentistry program, of course, they have a specific state exams. It's a bit different. Maybe Eman will tell you what she's now suffering from, what she's studying. But regarding the USMLE, Masaryk University Medical Faculty definitely is trying to support our students to successfully pass and participate in the rotation in the United States.
And what I will say to people there is taking the USMLE steps is a good thing anyway, even if you're not thinking about working in the US. In fact, you can bypass the licensing exam for Australia by taking the USMLE and completing ECFMG certification. So it does open up more pathways for you in your future career. And once you've got it, you've got it. It's a great thing to actually have in your arsenal in case you do want to go to the States or other parts of the world that recognize the USMLE. And Masaryk University, like I said, only university that I've ever come across where if you successfully pass it, will reimburse you financially your expenses of taking the USMLE. And that is substantial. Okay. So we won't do the questions in order because I actually want to try and keep on theme here. Okay. So Helena did mention the state exams. In your final year of medicine, and Imam, you take state exams as well before you get your license to practice. And for those that are thinking about the UK, as it stands under current legislation, even though we've left the European Union, the GMC and the GDC recognize the state exams of the Czech Republic. So for those who are Brits who are worried about this, don't worry. Under current legislation, once you graduate from Masaryk University, Medicine or Dentistry, the system is effectively very similar to how it was when we were in the European Union, and you do not, under current legislation, have to take the ORE for dentistry or the MLA, the new MLA replacing PLAB for medicine. We've had lots of students who've got in touch with us who've been convinced by agencies to go and study in Georgia, for example, and a GDC has just announced a freedom of information, following a freedom of information request, that not a single graduate from Georgia has successfully gone through the ORE exam. So Iman's not going to have that issue. She'll probably have a job offer well before graduation, as the universities. Do you have a job for that, Iman?
Yeah, I already do, yeah.
Fantastic. So Iman, for everyone online, Iman hasn't graduated yet and already has a job offer for UK. And we see that across all of our graduates from Masaryk University. So we've talked about state exams. Thank you for that. I'm going to talk about requirements now. There are two questions, and this is a very British-centric question. Someone said, what are the A-level requirements, or what are the IB requirements? Okay, there's different ways to answer this. The reality is there aren't any. It doesn't, you can take history, philosophy, and geography, but you're probably not going to pass the entrance exam, okay? In effect, you need to graduate from high school with 3 A-levels, successfully passed A-levels, doesn't matter whether A grades or D grades, as long as you graduate with 3 A-levels, or graduate with the full international baccalaureate. Effectively, you need to qualify from high school with a qualification which enables you to apply to university in your country of origin or in the education system. That doesn't mean it's easy to get in. You still have to pass the university entrance exam. But if you think there's a conditional, unconditional offer system, no. All the offers are de facto unconditional once you've passed the entrance exam. To enroll, you need to then successfully graduate with 3 A-levels or with the IB diploma or with another suitable qualification like the US High School Diploma, the Ontario Diploma, Alberta Diploma, the Dogwood Diploma in Vancouver, or perhaps something like the CBSE if you're coming from an Indian curriculum school, or Irish Leaving Certificate, or Abitur, or any of the veritable qualifications that our students have when they are applying to Masaryk University. Okay? For those that are asking more about the entrance exams, like I said, that we've got the 2 in-person exams in London and the online exam for students based in Americas. There are some students asking from other parts of the world, like Africa. What I would say is, in individual cases, please drop Medical Doorway an email. We'll delegate that over to my colleagues at the university to see if there's a suitable date for you, because it's not just about the exam venue, it's about the date. If you're applying from Africa, the June date is going to be too late for you. So we'd need to find another alternative for you, which the university might have access to that I don't, but I'm very happy to facilitate that as well for you. Okay.
Can I mention one thing? Probably
awesome.
what we forgot to mention. Susanna mentioned that for the dentistry program, we accept just up to 25 students, but we forgot to mention how many students we accept into the general medicine program in the first year. We accept roughly about 200 international students every year, and this is the connection with the IB and A-level. And we accept students actually from all around the world. About the 100 students usually from European Union countries. So you can imagine we have students from Norway, Sweden, Germany, France, UK, if I can, and Italy, Spain, Portugal, Greece, Cyprus. And each of those countries, they have different curriculum. They have different final high school diplomas. So therefore, we cannot compare those diplomas. Therefore, we insist the students have to pass the high school successfully, and then students have to pass our entrance examination test. That's probably the fairest way how to admit students. The other hundreds of students we accept from the, let's say, from the Emirates, from the Qatar. We have students from Japan, from Korea. So it's the really international mixture. I think in this time, the Masaryk University is the only medical school in Czech Republic who has this kind of really international nature. And I suppose Eman and the other students can confirm that they have a lot of international friendships among each other, and a lot of connections. So
it's great if
this
you're a
is
student and you want to sofa surf in summer. You can travel all across the world and stay with your friends. And this is, I think, also, it does two things. It does broaden your perspectives. It gives you a much more diverse network of future professional colleagues as well as friends. And it also, in my view, makes you more adaptable to serving a multicultural environment. If you're going to work as a dentist in London, Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham, you could have people speaking every single language in the world in one day in your clinic. If you're working in the UK, you're surrounded by people like you, all right, yourself. It's homogenous. In this,
and you have connections in Italy, right? For example, Eman.
Yes, in Italy, in Norway, in India, in Dubai, everywhere.
Yeah. And that's fantastic to see.
Even in the US, actually. Yeah.
And the other thing about the Czech Republic as well is because it's so diverse at the student base, students are feeling very safe. If you just look at how people are feeling in the UK at the moment with the rise of extremism and things, this is not something that you're experiencing in Central Europe, which is a very tolerant, open, secular society. So when people do ask me questions about safety, just look at the crime stats compared to, say, London, all these other cities, and you will see a very big difference. And you'll probably realize
definitely Brno is one of the safest cities I've ever lived in. Like, I can go out at 4 a.m. the night and I feel safe. It's definitely
there are no-go areas in Brno. You can walk everywhere.
And everywhere. And there's like police roaming around all the time. So you're always safe.
Okay. Right, quick final things on the entrance exam before I want to draw that under. We did talk about the strategy. For those students who are in the EU, you'll have to come to London. There is no exam in Brno. You'll have to come to London and take the exam. The rule basically is, if you can travel for the exam reasonable distance, then you have to take it in person because that's university regulations. We do have a special exemption for North America just because of the distances involved, etc. Because, you know, having someone travel from, say, San Diego to an in-person exam in, you know, in Toronto when a couple of people live locally isn't really as fair, really. But in Europe, with our €20 flights with Ryanair now, it's so easy to do, to travel to different entrance exams. And you'll also get to meet the university staff as well, which I believe is the best thing, really, because they're the people who are going to be dealing with on a daily basis once you are at Masaryk. Okay. Let me go through this. Right. Iman, there's been a question about accommodation, okay? And I think we did touch on that, but there is accommodation on campus. For those of you that are needing a visa, you will be provided the accommodation certificate because you need that to apply for the visa. But Iman, how have you found your living experience? Because I imagine you don't live in the dorms anymore. You probably did first year.
So from first semester, I've lived in the city center. So I live in a private accommodation. I share an apartment with one of my friends. So I've lived here since the beginning. I don't want to change. I'm going to stay here till I graduate. But it's very feasible. It's like everything's like one step away. The grocery store is one step away. The library is one step away. So living in the center is definitely like what the goal should be. But even the dorms themselves, I have friends living there, and it's always just a 20-minute bus to the center. So I don't know much about the dorms, but I do know that it is the private accommodation in the center is amazing. It's worth it.
Yeah. And I would say about the accommodation options in Brno, and the thing with Brno is you get your student travel permit as well, which it's very cheap, isn't it?
It's very cheap, yes.
And there is that direct tram now. Didn't used to be there when I first visited, but there's a direct tram now to the faculty. Yeah?
Yep. Tram number 8, yes.
Yeah, I remember it last year because the rain was coming down when we had the barbecue last year, and I got soaked getting to the tram and then dried off by the barbecue. Okay. For those people that are thinking about the exams, whether you take the exam in April or June, it doesn't change your chances of admission. What matters is you take the right exam to give you the right amount of prep time, as well as the time to get the visa. Susanna, we've kept you quiet for a bit. I do want to bring you in. Someone's asked a question about Erasmus and the other universities that you have partnerships with for Erasmus. Because again, for those that are in Britain, you know, idiot politicians got us leaving the Erasmus scheme. but this is something which you can still do if you go to Masaryk University. So where do some of your Erasmus students perhaps go and come to? Because I do see a lot of students, incoming students from Erasmus, as well as outgoing students. So where do your students often do their Erasmus exchanges with?
Yeah, so of course, Erasmus, let's say, important thing is to know what are your language skills. Yes, sometimes. So we have a lot of connections, for example, with German universities, but of course, sometimes they require certain German level knowledge.
Yep.
Yes, but we have connections with universities in Italy. So many students, Italian students use it. So they go to their home country. So, for example, in Rome we have, or in Sicily. So we have different university connections, or in Spain and Portugal as well. So there are many universities, I think, to choose from in France as well. But for France universities, again, it's better if you speak French. So it depends on the language requirements as well that you have to look. But definitely you have a lot of options to choose from. On our website, when someone is interested, we have like a mobility program part, and there is the list of all the universities according to the countries that we have, let's say, those Erasmus contracts with. And also, if students, they find a university that would be, let's say, attractive and they really want to go there, they can always come to our office and we can discuss it. We can discuss it with the Vice Dean, whether, for example, the cooperation with that university would be possible. Yes, so this is also something what we will help you. We will do our best to see whether, okay, if you will go there, whether it will be attractive to other students as well, and we can create these Erasmus contracts. But there are also other mobility programs when it's, for example, outside of European Union that you can use.
Yeah, and Masaryk University, like I said in the presentation, they've done this in the UK. So they've got those links with hospitals in the UK. So you can do placements in the UK. And that is not only limited to British people, okay? The hospitals will provide sponsorship so you can get a short stay visa for the UK if you need a visa to come to the UK to do that. In fact, many Masaryk graduates, irrespective of nationality, have got their healthcare workers visa to come and work in the UK as well, because UK hospitals do value greatly the knowledge and skills from Masaryk University, especially the hospital I was born at up in Whiston near Liverpool, actually, the St. Helens and Knowsley NHS Trust. They have a huge number of Masaryk universities. In fact, they historically have interviewed the students in person in Brno for employment, usually in the kind of March, April period. Okay. Right, I'm going to come back to you now, Imam. Someone's asked a question about learning Czech language, all right? And I'm going to link this with something else in a minute, but just tell us what's expected of you in terms of your development of Czech language proficiency and how you found it kind of more effective to learn the language as a non-native speaker.
So the Czech language is taught for 4 years, so for medicine it's the same and dentistry it's the same. And you'd start learning from the first semester, and in the first 2 years, in the first year mainly, it's just focusing on developing your basic vocabulary. And it's the main goal is at the end for you to be able to communicate in the hospitals with patients. So because especially with dentistry, at least from the second year in the summer semester, we're already working in the hospitals, and you need to be able to communicate with patients and also like the nurses sometimes. So I feel like it's been really, really useful, especially like for me and for my colleagues as well. We are able to communicate with the patients openly. We know what they want. We know, which is very helpful because when we're treating the patients, we should be able to distinguish like what they're trying to say. So we don't have to call the doctor each time. So the main goal is for you to be able to communicate with your patients, and yeah. So and every semester you have like a test, and it's very doable.
My advice is, engage early on. Make friends with the local students. They're going to want to make friends with you. Meet local students, meet local people. Go to the bars, the restaurants, the cafes, the markets. That's how you learn your food, isn't it? How do you know what a melon is if you don't practice it or read it or find it out? And do not try to learn complex grammar at the outset. That's a nightmare. It's about learning phrases, getting used to people, and the basic levels of conversation. However, as someone's asked the question, if you wanted to remain in the Czech Republic and work in the Czech Republic after you graduate, you will need to know a higher level of Czech. And actually, many of our students have decided to remain in the Czech Republic after graduated, and students do that. And I think, Helena, you've had students from the Middle East who've remained in the Czech Republic after they've graduated to work in the hospitals in Brno.
Oh, definitely. I remember Amir Samadian, I suppose. And last year it was a Nan Harchita. She was an Indian.
Yeah.
She's in a Sanden hospital.
Abbas also working in
Yeah.
St. Louis right now.
Yeah. So I suppose not many, but always several students decided from different reasons to stay and live in the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
As Ben said, you have to pass the national Czech language exam.
Yeah, that would be if you want to work in the Czech Republic. Obviously, you need to have more or less full fluency by that stage.
Yeah.
There are actual classes that you can take, extra classes that you can have in Czech language if you're looking for that higher level. Plenty of opportunities to do that while you're in the Czech Republic, and the university can assist with that as well if that's something you're aiming to do.
There is also the possibility to stay in a Masaryk University in Brno as a PhD student in English language. But it means that you wouldn't be able to make a specialization. Yeah. PhD students are mostly focused on research.
Yeah. And you've got that amazing palatial European Research Centre right next.
That's true.
Which is it's it wouldn't look out of place in a multi-billion kind of dollar research pharmaceutical research lab in the States. It really is spectacular. Okay. Listen, everyone, it's nearly 6:15 in the UK, 7:15 in the Czech Republic. I don't want to keep our colleagues too long. A lot of the questions that have been put in now, okay, have actually already been addressed or addressed in some ways. What I would say is that Masaryk University it's a really unique institution in Europe. When you look at the different facilities on offer, both clinical, educational, research, it's all in one place, and it is in a fantastic city, which I think some people call the world's biggest village. Yeah. It's a big enough city that it's got everything you need. It's got airport. It's got a fantastic train station with connections everywhere. It's got every single mod con, super fast internet, a very cheap and safe way of living, and obviously fantastic history in medical education. You really can't go wrong. If you are interested to apply, whether it's this year or next year, because I noticed in the questions some people are looking for 2026, do get in touch with Medical Doorway. Our service is completely free of charge. All right. We don't charge you service fees or anything like that. We are paid by the institution, and we run the entrance exams in London and are starting to do more in North America as well. If you've got a question about USMLE, a question about federal funding or potential placement opportunities, there's a question about clinical rotations in Canada, the university will work very hard with you to set those kinds of collaborations up to make sure you have the pathways to those careers that you're aiming for. Okay. Someone's asked a question about co-curriculars. You're not just going to be studying medicine. I think Imam mentioned at the beginning of the question of the Q&A section about balancing your life. The sports facilities on offer are fantastic, and in fact, sport is an integral part of curriculum in the first couple of years, I believe. Yeah.
You can do 2 sports courses free of charge. So I just did yoga this semester. So I think the first 2 courses you choose are free. And there's so many. You can go for hiking, there's like swimming, there's karate, there's table tennis, everything you want to do is there.
Wonderful, wonderful. As I said, you need to have a broad level of interests because the brain is a muscle. It's going to be stretched and stressed while you're studying medicine or dentistry. Give it time to relax, do something physical. It's good for the heart, good for the mental health, good for your overall well-being. And it's something which you will have those memories from developing over the next years of your life. Okay, it's 6:15. As I said, some people have had to sign off because we did have people joining us from South Korea and Australia today, according to the IPs I've got on my screen here, as well as North America and the UK and Europe. A huge thank you to the team at Masaryk University. A massive thank you and congratulations, Iman, for having that job offer already.
Thank you so much.
And seeing you 5 years after we first met in the entrance exam in London. But it's been a fantastic journey to see you grow, develop, become a dentist. So we'll have to change the title in front of your name soon. For those that want to make applications, you can do on the Medical Doorway website. There isn't for some people ask about age requirements, there isn't an 18 years of age requirement to take the exam or to enroll. There are just different procedures for visas. But Medical Doorway is here to take you right through the process, from advice, counselling, the entrance exam itself, and then, most importantly, getting you to the university in September and giving you that great start in your future career as a doctor or dentist. So anyway, thank you so much to everyone. For those of you that want to see the recording, do just check out the live section of the Medical Doorway YouTube channel. This video is already there and will be there forever. If you have any questions, get in touch with us. Our team are always on hand. If you want to come and meet us in Canada or in Spain and Portugal, we're in Spain and Portugal in the beginning of March, just drop us an email. We'll hopefully be one of your schools. But until next time, goodbye and have a great evening, great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.